Is that better? Is that not muted anymore? We're good. Yeah? We're good now? Who needs professionality? Yeah? Perfect. Boom. It's intended. It was a coming together of the stream to work out and diagnose that I couldn't talk. Still nothing. It says it's something. No, Yeah. Still nothing. That sound is good. We have sound. It's too loud. It's good. I'm gonna talk as loud as I fucking want now. You're gonna have to turn your own computers down. That's thank you. That was good. Good. We got sound. Perfect. It's my only marketable thing, is my voice. So let's make sure that we have that there. Perfect. Yeah, so the footage I've put in the background is the original Procedural Planets demo, V2 or whatever. So original V2, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to sort of like have that to see how the planet generation has changed. Things that we do have, things that we don't have. We don't have a giant sandworm yet. We don't have weather yet. We have sort of like very faked VFX snow occasionally that is literally just particle effects on, you know, Lyria. I forgot what planets or moons are which. But yeah, it's the quality of sort of like the procedural generation and just the additions of assets have made obviously like places like Hurston look much better. But yeah, so we'll leave that on the background. We'll change it to something else like the Squadron 42 vertical slice in a bit. But we'll talk about what people want to talk about today. I'll go through some of the news and some of the hot topics. We'll have a little chat about them. If you want to ask a question in brackets will help me pick it out from the list. I take it from anywhere, whether that be on Discord. Some of them are pre-selected questions or will be in the future. Obviously, some of them are just from the YouTubes and then some from the Twitches and all that sort of jazz. I'm glad that you love my voice. Thank you very much. I've hurt my neck somehow. Don't know how. Probably just from sleeping and generally being unhealthy. Although I've started going for a run every day now. Perfect. And then you can have an Adonis body like me. Going for a bit of a run. But yeah, so some of the hot topics, I suppose, at the moment are the Forbes article. We can happily discuss that if people want to discuss that. People don't want to, don't have to. I made a statement about it the other day, basically just saying it's a load of old news that was used to sort of like discredit, and it's the worst possible slant they could give Star Citizen, and that was the whole angle of that article. It was looking to hate bait and hate click sort of like style. It came to a conclusion of how can we make this look like a pile of shit before they started to write that article. And it was all, some of that stuff was true, but some of it is in the far past or entirely irrelevant from Star Citizen. So we can talk about that in a bit more detail if people want. I'm happy to justify my points for that as well. It was mostly irrelevant, that article, in my opinion, in my humble opinion now, especially now. A load of that stuff was ages and ages ago, and Star Citizen has had development troubles, especially in the past, up until like it changed the whole scope of the game in 2015, and then I'd say up until the end of 2016, they probably had a lot of inefficiency, mismanagement. I don't want people to think, oh my god, he says mismanagement, but yeah, I mean, there's going to be a load of inefficiency. There's going to be problems there, and there was. I mean, they had a studio like Ilphonic. They either miscommunicated with them or Ilphonic did something wrong or whatever. I'm not entirely sure, but that delayed the project by at least a year with Star Marine module. We don't have the Enders Game stuff yet. There was loads of problems with Star Citizen in the past. It's just starting to genuinely deliver over the last couple of years now, and I've been really happy with the progress. This seems like an odd time to have that article. Other things that I want to talk about, the Free Fly, very briefly. If you haven't got involved with the Free Fly yet, you still get those 5 ships for yourself as well. You literally just need to go onto the website and the Free Fly page, put in the code there, which appears on that page. And then you get access to the Cutlass Black, Dragonfly, an Arrow, Prospector, and another ship. I can't remember what the other ship is. Let's go find out. Let's go find out together. Exciting. Bam. Let's go here. Let's open up desktop, and let's click on Free Fly. Can't remember what the other ship was. It's an Avenger. It's an Avenger of some kind. Is it an Avenger Titan? It's an Avenger Titan. Oh, this is a smart choice of ships. It's because this is sort of like a solid lineup of starter ships. So, but obviously the Mustang and the Aurora. So like your base starter packages. But if you want something a bit more than that, you'd go to the Avenger Titan. Or if you wanted combat, like combat fight, you'd probably go to the Arrow. And then beyond that, if you wanted something a bit more than the Avenger Titan or multi-crew something, but as cheaply as possible, then the Cutlass Black. Obviously, you've got the Dragonfly there to give you a bit of biking, a little bit of planetary exploration. And then you've got Prospector for mining, although mining's still a little broken, not as broken as it once was. There's been a load of hotfixes to 3.5. They've decided to apply hotfixes, which are actually client-side patches, as well as server-side stuff, and just refer to them all as hotfixes, which is an interesting thing. So they've sort of like tacked on, we've deployed hotfixes, and they've done a couple of solid hotfixes, fixing loads and loads of crashes, fixing mining stuff, allowing you to now escape Hurston and Lawville more regularly with your ships, things like that. 3.5 is certainly not perfect. There are a load of problems still, a load of known issues, loads of known issues here that aren't listed as well. Lots and lots of problems, and a large amount of that is because we don't have server-side object container streaming yet. That's a technology. They need lots of these technologies for server optimization in general, leading up to server meshing. Now, the servers are literally pushed to their limit with the gameplay area and the amount of players and the AI spawning and objects and all that sort of stuff. So once you get beyond like 45 players on a server, the servers degenerate quite severely, quite quickly, especially when players are in a similar area to each other. And then you have AI problems because of that. You have performance issues because of that. Although I'm actually quite enjoying the new flight model now. I've started to get a bit more used to it. Things like that. But yes, let's have a look at some of questions. I see lots of questions appearing. Lots of no sound at the beginning. No sound. It's all good. Fog in 3.6, right? They're working on a layered fog system. I assume you'll see better fog in 3.6 that isn't just sort of like a sweeping, covering fog that is just there just to occlude things, which we sort of like have previously had. When will server meshing arrive? They're working on server meshing and server-side object container streaming now. They're not on the roadmap yet. We know that they want to expand the universe further in this year with Microtech. And at the beginning of next year with Horizon, and that will literally have all the major planetary bodies other than the and points of interest other than the like Aaron Halo, a couple of other ones fully done for the Stanton system. But before they can expand it out any further, before they can add Microtech, they need some further server optimization, probably server-side object container streaming, which is a prerequisite of server meshing. We'll probably see server meshing V1 next year, and we'll probably see some of those prerequisites, those pre-requirements, this year. I am alive. The game does desperately need server meshing, yes. Or at least it needs to be focusing on building up to server meshing. So, yeah, server-side object container streaming, some of the other optimizations. So a lot of the back-end stuff that they've been doing with getting all of the back-end services running as efficiently as possible, breaking them up into lots of different services and things like that. They're all kind of prerequisites for server meshing and full persistence. So these are things you're going to hear a lot about constantly over the next year or so. It will be server-side object container streaming, full persistence, server meshing. Love getting your daily boards. I'm honestly excited for any news and updates on literally any information on Star Citizen. Thank you for your continued effort to keep us all in the loop. appreciated. That's literally what the channel does, though. Effectively, that's what's given me my job on my channel, is because very few people were doing Star Citizen content in end of 2014 when I started. And then I got really, really into it. All that hair is putting unnecessary strain on your neck. I'm going to get a... yes, fuck you. I'm going to get a headrest, I think, for this chair. The headrests are incredibly expensive. They're like 150 quid for my stupid expensive chair. The Forbes article is bullshit. Well, so the Forbes article had a clear slant. 100% had a clear slant, at least in my opinion. Don't want to say anything libel. In my opinion, had a clear slant to bias of let us prove the narrative, let us push this narrative of Star Citizen. Not a scam, but it's terribly mismanaged, and it is always going to be, and is, and all that sort of stuff. And I think that some of that has previously been accurate, but they did refer to Star Citizen people at CitizenCon as fanatics. They did use any quotes or people that are invested or into Star Citizen. They made them look like, some of them as believers. The people that had port impulse control, they made it look like they're being preyed on and still buy ships. It was things like that. It was all just slanted towards that. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that the gentleman reviewing that, the two gentlemen that wrote that article, one that wrote that article and then the other one edited it, or whatever, I don't think they played in the free fly. I don't think they played Star Citizen at all. I think they've looked at very old, sort of like, stuff on the project. They talked to some irrelevant, well, maybe not irrelevant, but they talked to some game developers that were not connected to Star Citizen anyway, that don't make anything similar to Star Citizen, and said, is this normal behavior? And they went, and the guy went, no, from Shell, no, this isn't how game development's done. And you get his games that sort of like, it's like asking my mother, is Star Citizen a good development project, or is this how they should do game development? It's sort of like unrelated. I mean, probably he has a little bit more knowledge about how game development works, admittedly. But it's sort of like, they could have asked a load of different studios as well, and maybe they did, but they only used the quote that fitted their narrative, which is one of the guys that was referred to as a believer. They used a very tiny little quote from him to make him look like a sort of like super Star Citizen loyal fan, rather than sort of like someone that was pretty reasonable. It was just it's an odd time for that article. But what interest have Forbes got in making a story about Star Citizen like that? I mean, the writer might genuinely believe that. The writer might have heard some stuff, he might have read some stuff, and he might genuinely believe, and that is a form of bias, 100%. It's confirmation bias when 100% believe or whatever, and then you sort of like prove your point onto that. Might 100% believe what he's printing there is true, or that it's something that needs to be told about Star Citizen. But talking about Chris's marriage ages ago, talking about things like that, talking about stuff that is so far in the past, saying, oh, he's a failed sort of like movie creator in Hollywood and things like that. He made Lord of War. Lord of War, probably the best Nicolas Cage film. And making Nicolas Cage look like a great actor, that is something of legend. I don't mind that the article is unprofessional, personally. I mean, it's all personal opinion and preference. I'm not professional. I don't see that current media needs to be professional. I suppose Forbes should, but I just didn't can agree with the article. I just thought it was very, very slanted, very biased, and it wasn't talking about Star Citizen. It was talking about problems with Star Citizen, and didn't look at it from any other point of view, which is just terrible. And there was loads of inaccuracies. There was like, and sort of like really vague, terrible toned terms, like $300 million game. It's earned $300 million, which it hasn't. I mean, you can't round up millions. You can't round up millions of dollars when you're talking about something like that. That's a madness. It's like 270 million or 288 if you potentially include subscriber money. But that's still 12 million short. And the game may never come out. Well, the game is out. an extent, and you can say that a game won't be out for anything that's in development. But you know, thanks for being awesome. It's respectfully sexy. Thank you. Do you think Chris Roberts, CIG, know if Brexit will affect their European studios or the game in general? It will affect them financially in some way. They'll probably get their accountants to deal with it. I'm not sure how the free movement of individuals will work. They'll work it out. It will obviously affect them in some way. It will affect every business in the UK and in Europe in some way that deals with each other. It's not insurmountable. I'll see if once we have a more detailed analysis of exactly what's happening with Brexit, if they'll be willing to talk about it. And then people like Brian Chambers and Tim Welsh will be great to talk about because they will be people that are heavily involved in rearranging and working out how those studios are going to function after Brexit. I feel that Brian gets asked a load of questions, Brian Chambers, that he can't possibly answer. Brian is a rock star. Brian is a very intelligent man. Brian has his finger on the pulse when it comes to running that Frankfurt studio and sort of like getting stuff working and everyone working together correctly. However, he doesn't know all the answers to game design questions, which he constantly get asked. When I was at Brothers and God, he was just constantly asked game design questions. It's like, ask Luke Presley. Luke Presley is going to be much better suited to answer those sort of like short-term game design questions because he works on them, he gets them in the game. When I play Star Citizen, I always feel alone and rarely see people. Is that because I'm phased for performance? If so, when will that change? Well, there's only up to 50 players in a server at the moment. It can be based on the time of the day when people turn up. If you're in a big org, then just join with that org. You have a load of people in the server. It might be where you're traveling, but there's going to be up to 50 people in your server. Yeah, you say there's no impact because the company is registered in the US, but they travel between Europe and the UK. They have employees that move across there very regularly. The free movement of people might change. There's obviously going to be financial changes because they've got European employees and British employees, and there might be some tax changes. Lots of stuff might change. The Warden is great right now. Would you recommend to buy it when it goes for sale on 3.6 or wait for the anniversary sale, and why? If you're in love with the Warden and you've got the spare money, wait until it's in 3.6, see how it plays, and then get involved with it. Potentially you could wait for later until the anniversary sale if you wanted to. The reason to do that would be to see how the ship gets further balanced. If it's like super weak in 3.6 or later patches, see how the sort of like intention of the ship's going to change. It might be a ship that is rentable or purchasable in game very easily from like 3.6 onwards, because obviously we're having ship rentals then. So definitely wait until at least a few days after 3.6 is released. Should have a flyable sale enabling us to buy that on all the variants as well. The Avenger Titan is my recommended starting ship. If you want to spend the bare minimum, Mustang Alpha, and if you want to spend a little bit more than that, then Avenger Titan. Unless you want to go for a pure combat, sort of like dogfighting ship, and then potentially the Arrow. Are the ships unlocked just for the free flight period? Yes, until the 8th. My computer clock is more than 1 minute off. It's probably about 10 minutes off now, because I'm about 10 minutes behind in chat. I have an i7. I don't know what, if you've got a first gen i7, you might struggle, but 2600K onwards, 16 gigs RAM and a 1060, yeah, you can run Star Citizen. I have to run it 1080 on high, probably. You think you're going to forget about Star Citizen for a year? That's if you want something that's a lot more fleshed out as a game, good shout. I love Star Citizen as a project. I want my feedback to matter and to count. I want to get involved with orgs and play silly sandboxy stuff in the meantime. So that's why I'm covering Star Citizen and playing Star Citizen at the moment, because I enjoy doing that. If you want something that's actually a fully fleshed out game, then at least a year. But check it out with all of the major release patches. I would. That would be my suggestion. Play in the play in 3.6, 3.7 just at the beginning. Do all the content quick, just to see how it's evolving. That's my suggestion. Yeah, so I actually agree with you, Citizens Shenanigans, that Cloud Imperium should lower the player cap to 40, just for the 3.5 branch, even if, or just for the free flight period or whatever, just so that we don't have the server degradation problem. Where's the Polaris? I might do a video talking about. Have I done one recently on all we know about the Polaris? I've done it on a load of the other ships. I can't remember if I've done one on the Polaris. Polaris will be being worked on probably towards the end of this year. Don't know that for sure though, but probably I talked to some people. Although that information might be reasonably old now. Not on the roadmap at the moment. I'd expect to see it at the earliest at the end of next year. Do you think the law system will include customs and smuggling in its first iteration? Customs areas, no, that are not in 3.6. Todd Pappy said as much. Smuggling, so there'll be smuggling to some degree. So we've got the black market and the law system planned for 3.6. And that will literally mean that NPCs are able to differentiate between goods that are stolen and not stolen, or illegal and legal. This could include narcotics. This could include anything that you've stolen, and they will act appropriately if you're discovered with that. So ships might scan you for that. Ships might be if you land and try and sell your cargo or whatever, and then you get a criminal rating. You get faced by the popo. There might be places to sell those black market goods as well. Well, almost certainly will be if they've got the thing where they'll scan your stuff down. Otherwise, there's no point in ever carrying them. When are they going to stop server resetting? So the first port of call will be, when are they going to stop resetting so much? So at the moment, they reset the databases so that you get all your character, your Alpha UEC and Alpha UEC purchases all get reset every 3 months at least. And any other time they reset the databases, which can be with minor patches as well, or if they need to for whatever reason. But typically that will be every 3 months. Once they've got to a certain stage, there will be less resets. This is probably going to be when we have full persistence and first or slightly more iterated upon server meshing. So probably next year, you'll start to see less resets. And then a little while after that, a few quarters after that, you'll see probably no more resets. Or no more resets until beta. And eventually they will say, no more resets at all, game is live. And then we'll be using UEC rather than Alpha UEC. That's sort of like the cutoff point. That's when you know the game is going to be live. It's when they go, right, we're not using Alpha UEC anymore, we're using UEC. That will be added to your account permanently. I've been very much enjoying the flight model in 3.5. BoredGamer, where do you normally hang out in the persistent universe? I've got 4 accounts, which are all at different places. So typically I hang out at the moment at ArcCorp, the new place, but a reasonable amount around Port Lossar and Grimhex and Lorville. Yeah, so Star Citizen as a project, Star Citizen as a development is fantastic and terrifying. And it's obviously a dream to some people, and it looks like it's going to fulfill some of those dreams for a lot of people. And to some people it's terrifying and they see it as it could go wrong. And it could. There are things with Star Citizen that could go wrong. There's issues they need to solve. I'm pretty sure they can solve them, but if they've got a less than perfect flight model, if they've got less than perfect combat for Squadron 42, Episode 1, which is probably going to go live next year, like fully, then that's not going to be a great game. And we need that to be a great game. They need to make a good amount of money from that. Yeah. I'd like to see 10 million copies sold of Squadron 42 Episode 1 in the first year. That'd be superb. That's sort of like, I say in the first year, in the first 18 months, that's sort of like my upper prediction for it, and then more after that. But I do think it could be a great game. There is a helicopter going over my house, so just bear with me if you hear some weird distortion. But I do think there are going to be elements of Star Citizen, mechanics in Star Citizen that I do not like, and I will avoid them for the most part. And I'll go into mechanics and gameplay loops that I do enjoy. So the feature creep in Star Citizen is an interesting one. Obviously, there's been massive feature creep, but it's more sort of like a prioritization and just redesign and change of scope of the game. So yes, it is feature creep, but it mostly happened at once. Other than procedural planets, which were planned, but then they went, actually, we can get them in earlier. So it was just, and then it's just been weird reprioritizations of stuff. So it's sort of like because of their agile development method, they've sort of got into this phase of every 3 months releasing something, but their priorities always changed. So their roadmap, like last year, we were supposed to have, at the end of the year, we were supposed to have land claim gameplay. We don't know when that's going to be on the roadmap anymore. So. Forbes piece was released on the first day of the free fly. That's why I thought it was a hit piece. It was probably just a sensible time for them to release that. They probably had it written up for a while, and then just finished typing off the first and last little bits at the end. It's my expectation. And you don't have to agree with something or like it or hate it or whatever to read it. So I think for the most part, information is better, even if it's sort of like fake news, even if it's something you don't agree with or whatever. Just read it, assimilate it, understand it, and once you understand it and you try and work out where the sources are coming from, then you can make a rational decision on the sort of like weight of that news. And I don't think people get harmed from more information. They get harmed from less information. They get harmed from echo chambers. And I think that's what's sort of like what people that would disagree with the stuff that I say about Star Citizen, because I do just cover Star Citizen. I am obviously a Star Citizen fan, and I have a slant towards I want the game to be completed and good, but I try to be as neutral as possible. I try to air my grievances with things that I don't like. And I think that's pretty important. But yeah, people would say I was a white knight or whatever, but that's because they don't agree with me. They always attack. You want to attack the message and not the messenger, typically. Actually, that's one of the things that the Forbes article has effectively done. It's very much sort of like, look at these people, look at what they've done in the past. Look, they're mad, look, they're weird, they're crazy. Oh, where's the money? We bought a house. Oh, it's like, okay. My wife caught me listening to one of these live streams the other day and thought it was live golf commentary. Oh my god, that is such a burn. I've been out of the Star Citizen loop for a year now. What video of yours should I watch to catch up on? State of the Game 3.5. State of the Games are pretty solid. Watch the State of the Game and then the latest news, Star Citizen news video. Bam, you'll probably be up to date. When will the fixed aim and shooting? So at the moment, there is deconvergence with hips and weapons. ESP is terrible, and fixed weapons, there's problems with that. However, if you mess around with look ahead mode, relative mode, fixed gimbals, all that sort of stuff, you can get it working reasonably well. It is a problem. They are trying to fix it though. Make sure you turn off ESP. So I talked to some people at BoredGamer. and it looks like, yeah, CitizenCon, as we thought, going to be in the UK, probably going to be in Manchester, although that wasn't confirmed. It was heavily implied, and it was also implied that it was going to be later than last year's CitizenCon. So after October 10th, but probably around then. So probably late October, early November sort of thing. Obviously unconfirmed, but that's what I heard. How am I supposed to throw money at you when you only stream when I'm asleep or at work? Oh, you didn't make them fix the Phoenix yet. Okay, so I don't have that much pull that I can force them to prioritize stuff. I can talk and air my grievances and poke some people like Luke Presley, potentially Cameron and people. But I wish I had a bit more pull. No VIP escape pods, and I still have to shower in the crew toilet. Feck off. If anyone wants to pay me to feck off, they're more than welcome. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston. You are a legend, and that is a lot of money which you will constantly throw at me. So very much appreciated. I do need to mention you more in the monthly update stuff. Actually, that is a good point. Feel free to message me, Robert, on contact@boredgamer.co.uk, and if you're interested in this. But I'm going to be doing a weekly FAQ series on Mondays, which I might even get around to doing today after the stream. I'm going to take questions from Reddit, and then all of my sources of media, social media, my YouTube, anyone that's one of my VIPs, so YouTube member, Patreon, Subscribe Star, donator like yourself. Send me questions about Star Citizen. I'll try and get them answered. Ones that are easy answerable, I'll just answer myself. I want to have something that replaces sort of like calling all devs. Obviously, anything I do will be unofficial. I will try and get some official statements on stuff. I'll try and email and poke the right people where I can. But I want something obviously a lot more simple and not more just wham bam, quickly, just punch out answers to what does this do? What does this do? When am I getting this? What's this going to be? How does this mechanic work? All that sort of stuff, just really quickly. Whatever the question is, I'll try and get an answer for it as quick as I can, concisely as I can. But if anyone's interested in that, then feel free to email me or message me or come into the Discord. Questions for Bored in the Discord. If you put question here, especially question in brackets, it allows me to pick it out a lot easier when I'm talking. Because I can't tell if you're talking to other people in the chat or talking to me. Should Star Citizen Fly model be more sim or arcade-ish, or a mixture of both? A mixture of both. They need it to work, they need it to be fun, and they need it to be lightweight so it can work in large-scale multiplayer, and it needs to have a skill floor so that people can do it without having to be masters and can be effective even if they're relatively new, especially in groups and if they've got the right loadouts and stuff. But it also needs to have a huge skill ceiling so that or at least a good skill ceiling so that really good pilots can do really cool things. And obviously, with that at the moment, we have the auto gimbals, which aid for the skill floor. We have the new flight model, which has got a reasonably good skill floor, and does allow for a good bit of reasonable skill ceiling. But we need combat to be balanced and lots of other stuff to come online before we can talk about more of the skill ceilings. Obviously, manual gimbals and fixed weapons, they enable you to do a load more damage and could be a good skill ceiling. And I've certainly seen people beat now others consistently that are using auto gimbals compared to people that are using fixed weapons. So you still get better performance playing on very high settings. I only run it very high in 1440p now. Typically, the graphics settings, non-resolution based graphics settings, don't affect your performance that much. Which ships will fit in the Carrack's hangar? It's purpose-built for the Pisces Scout Snub, and we don't know much about the Pisces yet. But I would expect that any other snub will be able to fit in it. Well, I say any other. The P-52 and P-72 is what is expected. Your opinions on the 890 Jump? I have one. I love it. I think it's a beautiful ship. I like the idea of multi-role luxury ships in game. I'm hoping that there is going to be VIP missions that you can have to transport people. We need to see what mechanics are going to be developed for that ship, but I think it's a really cool ship, great status symbol. I'm very excited for it. That's because I want to record on it and do stupid stuff with it. What kinds of citrus fruit can we expect in game? Will there be zesty lemons and tangy limes? There'll probably be some form of citrus type fruit, but they probably won't be lemons or limes. There'll be space lemons and space limes. So Star Citizen do have their financials up until 2017 available on their parent site, Cloud Games. Desktop. Whereabouts is it? Cool. Crowdfunded. Go check out a load of stuff on there. Financials and the investments they've received. You can find it all on that website. Very informative. Could you RP as a security guard at a station or port? There might, in the future, be mini missions to do stuff like that. They've talked about if you have no money left and your last ship has exploded, how do you get money to get your ship back from insurance or buy a new ship or whatever? And they've talked about potentially having you as a sort of like cargo loader and unloader, a cleaner, a janitor around the station, and potentially, yeah, you could have security guards or that sort of stuff. They've previously had missions where they've sort of had you going around service security post career and clearing it out of enemies as a lawful player. So yeah, there almost certainly will be that sort of gameplay there. And if you want to roleplay, you can roleplay anything. Can you bribe a cop? Probably not. They haven't talked about anything like that. Although there might be levels of laws and stuff in areas. So effectively, if you are in, if by Spider, if you buy Grimhex, and there's a law there that you can't smuggle a particular good in and out, and you get scanned by someone, and they go, "Oh, you got discovered," it's a fine. They just fine you, rather than giving you a criminal rating or something like that. Bored, are you the king of potatoes? A King Edward's potato from a fellow potato. Thank you. I am the king. Simon, thank you. I am the king of potatoes. A King Edward potato. Thank you. That's lovely. And remember me, if you during the summer, if you're having an egg and potato salad. It's literally a dish made of me. Any word on deeper multi-crew gameplay, like sharing missions, money, or ability to use co-pilot controls? So general multi-crew, they are trying to get more and more of that in every patch, so I'd expect a little bit more in 3.6. We're not getting mission sharing in 3.6 though. It is one of the pillars. It's one of the pillars they're probably going to priority for them, getting multi-crew gameplay in, the organization gameplay in, and obviously server meshing and server-side object container string at the moment. Not on the roadmap properly. They sort of expanded multi-crew and expanded multiplayer gameplay stuff, but expect it very soon. Is this Daymar? No. So this is Lear 3 from the Factory D2 demo. Can I RP? I can RP. I can roleplay like the fucking best of them, mate. King roleplay. King potato roleplay. How critical is the success of Squadron 42 for a healthy completion of Star Citizen? I'd say, personally, I'd say very, very crucial. So Squadron 42 represents their sort of like first release product, their core mechanics, their core gameplay, and sort of like the more cinematic experience. So I'd say that Squadron 42 Episode 1, it needs to be a great game. Doesn't need to be the best game, but it needs to be 90% plus sort of reviewed. Yeah? I think it needs to be a great game, but like, and it needs to be Half-Life 2 standard. But it needs to at least be 90 plus. Yeah, so a lot of people aren't playing Star Citizen because of the loss of progression every 3 months or so, or more than that. It depends on how you've geared your brain. Are you just playing Star Citizen to progress? A lot of people want that. A lot of people won't play without progression. Or are you playing it to experience the game as a tourist? And that's what I would suggest to a lot of people. When new major patches come out, come up with a list of stuff, do those things, then wait until the next major patch, until we have no more resets. So that'll be like visiting Lorville, visiting Area 18, doing a certain set of missions, that sort of stuff. Obviously, if you're like, oh, I didn't really want to do that sort of thing, look at joining an org. Orgs do silly gameplay all the time, arranged gameplay. Join a big org, get involved with them. Will the push Squadron 42 will mean lesser major updates to Star Citizen this year? So, the push for Squadron 42 Episode 1 has changed the priorities of what's getting put into the persistent universe. So the core gameplay mechanics and anything that is shared with Squadron 42 is obviously getting pushed into the persistent universe as they can work on both at the same time effectively. Some of that will take a little bit longer because they need to make it multiplayer ready. Seeing my dad coughing, but I think he's okay. Hear out from him in case he's screaming. He goes, Richard, my son, help me. But he won't, he's fine. He's got hay fever at the moment. But yeah, so you're going to see lots of the core mechanics. You'll see some other stuff that is persistent universe only or persistent universe orientated, like salvage and a load of other mechanics like that as well. But it's going to be a focus on the Squadron 42 shared elements this year. Showers and eating when? Player status system is when we'll start to see that, or at least we'll start to potentially see that. Player status system is gameplay 3.7, or is it 3.8 now? Physical inventories is 3.7. Player status system is 3.8, so Q4 2019, mid-December. And the sort of like earliest you'll see that. When is this scenario in game? Was it scripted? So yeah, so for the most part, that was a demo of what they can do. That sandworm is obviously scripted. I'm assuming that the dragonflies that were moving across were also scripted because obviously they had a little video and a camera move out. The planet is Layer 3 and should look a lot better by the time the layer system's in game now. We should still have things like that, with the downed javelin. We've got the downed javelin in game already, but we don't really have any sort of like missions around it at the moment. But yeah, that was effectively a scripted mission, just showcasing the game. We obviously have a lot, I think, better than that at the moment when it comes to missions. But we do need the dynamic mission system, and we do need a larger gameplay area. We need animals as well. And they are working on animals. Is the Mustang Delta a starter ship or legitimate fighter? It's both. I mean, it's a low tier light fighter, but it can still be relatively powerful in the right hands. It's not just trash. All light fighters are valid. However, the Arrow's great. The Arrow is just superb, and you will want to move up to certain fighters because they're just better, really. But you can still do a lot in the Mustang Alpha. You're not just going to be shat on all the time. You probably wouldn't want to get involved in PvP in it. And really, you don't want to get involved in 1v1 PvP anyway. Just in the universe. Bounty Defender 3.6 was delayed. It's planned for 3.6 currently. Making good progress, apparently. Seems to be some argument in the chat about whether CIG and Chris Roberts have been successful in the past. And a personal opinion, probably. Had some previous great games. Had some previous attempted good games like Freelancer, genuinely good for people that enjoyed Freelancer. Probably not seen as a great successful game though. So Wing Commander was a great success. However, very old now. Star Citizen, I'd say, is pretty good success. I mean, it's raking in a lot of money. It's playable. It's quite fun. When you actually play it now, you go, fuck me, this is beautiful. So most of my Star Citizen fanboy and knowledge and stuff comes from what they have released since 2015. And that's what sort of like what I focus on. So the 3/4 release is going to be later than last year. Don't know what that means. They're doing a release every 3 months. We obviously were about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks behind the live build for 3.5. However, they did put it to PTU for everyone. For the CitizenCon 3.7 build, that could be later because they basically try to match it with CitizenCon. And as I said, it looked like CitizenCon was going to be a bit later this year. Why can't they just focus on server meshing and object container streaming? They are. They are focusing on it. They have the network guys working on it. There's lots of different teams that are working on lots of different things simultaneously. They can't just put more people on server meshing and object container streaming because artists and animators and sort of like certain coders of particular disciplines are not suitable to doing network-based code and that sort of thing. Do you think they will be selling the Kraken, Idris, and Javelin in game one day? Yes. And they will be incredibly expensive to get. They will be organizations all working together to try and get those ships. They will not be common. Kraken will probably be the most common out of those three that you listed. The Kraken, Idris, and Javelin. How's the anniversary sale going to work when it is every year? Like for every ship or only some? Typically, it's most ships are on sale, and there are some ships that are limited quantity that are on sale, so like Idrises and Javelins and things like that. And that's typically around November. Will the Archimedes come with the Emerald Phoenix? Will it have a green paint job? I don't know. I don't know, Summer Yeti. They haven't stated that there is a emerald green Archimedes, though. And if there was going to be one, they probably would have sold it separately as well. You know what I mean? Because it would have made them more money. Will we be able to loot NPCs later on? Yes. Potentially we could start to see that once we have physical inventories in 3.7, but they're dealing with NPC loadouts and sort of like the possession of loot like that as well at the moment. So at some point, yes. Can you run Star Citizen with Shadow Cloud? Yes, 100%. I checked to make sure it works with every PTU and every major patch. I do need to update my guide on it though for a little bit more optimization, but it gets better and better every patch typically. Once the exploration mechanic is in its first iteration, do you think a rework of the Aquila likely? All ships will typically get light materials reworks, balance rework and that sort of stuff as they sort of like continue to iterate on the game. So expect that. Don't expect any huge changes to them though. They didn't mention lights at weapon attachments. So they mentioned underbarrel, which probably would be lights. So so we've got barrel, underbarrel, magazine, and was it top rail, the other one? Scope. The roadmap has maybe 20% of what's really being worked on. There's certainly a lot. So the roadmaps show what is currently pegged for release in the next 12 months or so. Lots of other stuff is being worked on. Some of that stuff will land in the next 12 months, but it just isn't on the roadmap because they don't know where it's going to land, or they're saving some of it for a surprise. Things like that. So, but there's a lot, obviously, they're working on that's beyond just 12 months as well. Could you share your view on the Endeavour as a ship and its role in gameplay as you perceive it? So the Endeavour, massive multi-role ship. It has the ability to, for its front to break away, leaving the rear section just in space or on ground or whatever. And then you can set the rear section up however you want it. And what I mean by that is there are science modules, there are farming modules, there are exploration modules. There's modules to combine it in different ways so that you can have it for research or the creation of drugs or loads of different things. Little overclocking, so you can improve, sort of like tweak and improve components and weapons and things like that. There's lots and lots and lots going on with that ship. But it can also be used as a steadfast explorer, patching the front of the ship. But it's scientific related typically. So it's got some focus things that it can do, very modular, science and exploration. We'll talk, obviously there's the hangar module for it as well, hospital module. It can be you can set it up as a big respawn hospital with lots and lots and lots of high tier medical facilities. We don't know exactly how all this is going to work yet, but those are the plans for it. Yeah, you can sort of set it up how you want. If mass-produced clone slaves were freed often and common NPCs, would they also make a good default for character generation tunes? There is slavery in the game, at least in lore. I don't think there's cloning of... Actually, maybe there is cloning, I don't know. What do you think to CIG messing up their deletions of the $0 CCUs? They removed some paid CCUs as well. So as far as I'm aware, I haven't experienced it personally. There was problems with the $0 CCUs, which I read about on Reddit, which said that any CCU which had the value of 0, or the system thought had the value of 0, so it was like a CCU that was $10, but chip prices had changed, so that if you had bought that CCU now, it would be $0. The system apparently also deleted those. However, you can see in your log what was deleted, and hopefully CIG will go, sorry, bam, we'll automate it and get it sorted so you get that money allocated to your account. Have they said when bed logging in and out will be sorted? So bed logging in and out, Robert, does work. However, you need to be far enough away from areas that sort of like despawn your ship. So major landing zones, Grim Hex, Polarisai, you need to be far enough away from them when you log out on your bed for it to work consistently. Any idea when exploration gameplay will start? So there is very light exploration at the moment, more of a sandbox thing. There's lots of mechanics that are going to be coming together for exploration type gameplay. I don't know when we'll have something that is identifiable as exploration type gameplay yet. Probably when we have the dynamic mission system towards the end of this year, I would expect more things to be exploration orientated, reward people that go off the beaten track. But we need the entity spawner, the procedural harvestable entity spawner, the loot spawner, the sort of like point of interest spawner, the dynamic mission system, and there's lots of side modules on that which will deal with interesting things that will happen to you and points of interest that might happen around you. We need all that. Towards the end of this year, probably have a little bit more to explore. Do I believe in intelligent life beyond Earth? IRL? Probably. Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 3? Well, Half-Life 2 exists. However, Boneworks, or Boneworks, I bought a Valve Index. I believe Boneworks or Half-Life 3 is going to be one of its release titles. I'm happy with either, to be honest. The problem with Valve is that they became really good at not releasing games. And that's what happened. These are the two sides of it. At the moment, you get AAA studios and publishers pushing for games to be released just to make money. And some of those games are trash because of that. Most of those games are trash because of that, in my opinion. But you also get studios that don't push at all for a release, like Valve, and then they just don't release anything. And they're not really a game studio anymore because of that. So, hi Bored, is NordVPN easy to set up? Yes. You literally just run it, and then you can click a few checkboxes, and it will automatically run. And then you can choose what you want it for. You can choose it if you're wanting it to download from peer-to-peer stuff, or if you're using it for super security, or if you're using it to spoof being from another country, whatever. And you can choose your own server, or you can just let automated do for you based on your need. Very, very easy to use. Literally just checkboxes, bam, bam, bam. Slider boxes, bim, bim, bim. Doesn't mess around with your router settings. I set mine up so that it's got, you can have it set up for kill switches and stuff as well. So if it loses connection for any reason to that server you're on, it kills your internet until it gets that connection back. It sort of like just blocks your internet traffic until it goes yes. So VPNs are great for security and privacy, and obviously the climate of the internet is changing, where privacy and security is more and more important, and there's lots of people infringing on that privacy and security that we previously had. And at the moment, in my country at least, VPNs are not illegal, so I will continue to use one until I'm told I'm not allowed to. Will we be able to loot NPCs? Yes, we will in the future. Talked about that. Have you? Someone just chucked me a load of money. Summer Yeti. There was no green Urza for sale. There's been a green Urza. There was a Urza Fortuna. Why have you given me $100 and said there was no green Urza for sale? Thank you fucking very much. Love your face. Very much appreciated. A lot of money. Why do people send me so much money? Oh, thank you so much, guys. Like, very much appreciated. I'm planning to hire Zin at the end of June is what the sort of like rough plan is. However, Zin and DC, some of my best friends in the fucking world, have been offline for about 2 weeks. They moved house. Their house was terrible. And Zin's like the Heron Huntress chief mods on my Discord. But Zin's going to be working with me regularly and probably be my editor, but play games with me regularly, stream with me, stuff like that. I think we work very well together, and I think the quality of the channel will be significantly improved, and get more videos out and stuff like that. However, they've been offline for 2 weeks. It's terrible. I've never been so needy in my life. I desperately want to play games with them. I want to play Apex Legends. I want to play just everything with them. And, oh, man, I'm needy. Do I recommend buying every ship? In-game, yes. Not outside of game. All you need is a starter ship, $45. Bam, it's done. You can get in. Get involved with an organization that has every ship if you want to try them out. There'll be ship rentals in 3.6, but do not spend fuck tons of money on virtual spaceships. Buy better computer. Buy stuff like that. If you've got a huge disposable income and it's just nothing to you, fucking knock yourself out. But still, even then, I'd still pick and choose what you want. If you want a little bit more than a starter ship, check out an Avenger Titan or check out an Arrow. Arrow if you want to do dogfighting. Avenger Titan if you want a bit of multi-role. Sorry if you already asked this. No worries, title. Do you know when we'll get the next game package with lifetime insurance token ship sale? No, not for sure. The next concept, we believe, well, at least I believe, is going to be for a Tumble Land Systems ground vehicle of some description. That could be a hover vehicle, that could be a tracked vehicle, that could be a wheeled vehicle, and that could range from a utility vehicle to a military vehicle to pretty much anything else. It was teased a little while ago that they're working on something. I thought it was going to be a couple of weeks ago that we were going to have another concept sale for that. Could be this week, could be next week, could be a month's time. That's probably going to be the next sale, and it will be soon. That will allow you to get a lifetime insurance token. When should we get that system? So Lear 3, Lear, we don't know. So it's I'm expecting a new star system, potentially probably 2 new star systems next year, and that will probably be Magnus and Pyro is what I think. They're very simple systems to do. They are proximate to the Stanton system, and it makes sense for them to do them. Stanton should be roughly complete by Q1 2020. Assuming they've got server meshing done or into a good state, then they can expand out the server systems. We can have more. They are able to create the gameplay area now and a lot of the stuff quicker than their tech can keep up with at the moment. So they do need to build out this tech. They do need server meshing. It is essential for the progress of the game. Are you out in Newt, mates? Put Summer Yeti and you and Newt on my list of people I love. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Bored, do you feel the Forbes article is nothing more than some fake info on Star Citizen that CIG could sue them for slander? No, not necessarily, Stormfire. So I believe a lot of the Forbes article a good portion of it might have been true. A good portion of it is either incredibly old. A lot of it's stuff we already knew, just repackaged and slanted to look worse than it is. And some of it's just personal stuff about people's marriages in the past, in the very far past, are relevant for running studios and the game. It wasn't that Star Citizen relevant, at least in my opinion. You could argue a lot of this like, oh, it's good to know who's running stuff at the top. Yeah, but they don't appear to be those sort of people. They don't appear to be those crazy people that they've suggested that they still are. It was just a weird article. If any of it was 100% provably, disprovably horrible, then they probably would be sued for slander. I don't think that will happen. I think that most likely CIG will just leave it, let it blow over. But all of that could have been true. It's just a large amount of it was irrelevant. All of it was slanted towards the worst possible angle it could have been. What you need to look at is that if a lot of that was still true today, would you support the project or would you have problems? I'd have problems with a lot of that if it was still true today. Is some of that's true in the past? Probably. Like, I do suspect that the project's been mismanaged in the past. I do suspect that Chris has been micromanaging. I suspect there may have been problems in people's marriages in the past. I suspect that Chris bought a house in 2017 for 4.2 million. He may have got a mortgage on it. He was renting for 16,000 a month previously before that, I believe. So, I mean, he hasn't been buying houses and yachts constantly throughout the project or anything. He's now just got a house. Come on. Like, when will Vulcan migration happen? What, in Star Trek? So they're working on Vulcan integration. I'm expecting it for when Squadron 42 gets released. So middle of next year, sort of like when they'll probably start the integration process, get some more of that stuff done. Probably be in the Persistent Universe end of next year. My expectation. Between the ships, which is your favourite? Polaris, Idris, Kraken, Javelin? Probably the Javelin. I have Javelin as well, so. Is there any info on the changes coming to the subscriber model and perks? Not that I've seen, other than they are making a dedicated site or dedicated sub-site for it. And there are going to be more in-game perks for the subscribers. I don't suspect there'll be anything that gives you massive boosts or anything. There'll be like cosmetics or weapon skins or weapons or ship skins and stuff like that. When we will be able to buy the Caterpillar and those sort of ships again. I'll put that on my FAQ list. So they do sales every so often. So don't 100% know. We'll see a sale in October, November with pretty much all the ships on. We'll say a flyable ship sale with 3.7, 3.6, 3.8. So every quarter. So end of June, October, November time, and mid to end of December. Thank you very much, Dashan. DS Jason Hush. I have no idea how to say your name. It is just a collection of letters. But that's true of everyone's name. Personal thanks. Allow us to repost your video in China and kept making up-to-date Star Citizen news. Key in Discord. I will say hello to you later. I'm happy for you to repost my videos with translations on underneath on your own channel or in your on the China version of YouTube that people have access to. I am fine with that, as long as it's not just a direct upload of my video. It has to have something different to it. It has to have those subtitles, and I will still retain rights to that if I get angry and go, no, get rid of them, if possible. But I'm happy for you to do that. I'm happy for people to do that. If anyone in any other community wants to put French translations or Spanish translations and re-upload those videos, try and contact me, because that's polite, but I'm kind of okay with that. However, I do believe that talking to Pulsar42 about getting French translation of my videos already, Neo from Thingamajig, Los Cinco Roberts Peoples, they are going to be doing translations for me regularly, and hopefully we can come to an arrangement. Love your face, mate. Oh, thank you very much, Nicola. I love your face. Love my face. Love your money. Money? Yeah, so everyone that had CCUs on their account, check your account. Go to account log. Let me actually show this. It's a good shout. Come on. Come on. Good Robert Space Industries website. Let us get out of the danger zone for doxing myself. Log. So that's good. So stop. So you want to go and have a look here. Go to your account pledges on the website. You'll see all your account pledges, which this is, I think this is my main account, so I have lots. And then you want to go to your hanger log. See here, automated removal of $0 CCU. So got quite a few that were removed. Character reclaimer. Fine, that's fine, that's fine. Gladius to hull B, that's fine. I know that's a $0 CCU. Reclaimer to Carrack, that's fine. Vanguard Warden to Redeemer. I think that's fine. I will double check to make sure that didn't have value. But some people might have a ship that when they bought it, it was $10, $15, $20 to move up to another ship. Didn't apply it. And then the ships became of equal value, so $0 CCU. And then the ship would have registered, the system would have registered that $20 CCU as a $0 CCU and removed it. That's the problem that people are saying that they had. Oh, KW03, KW, thank you so much. That's what I'm going to call you from now on. I love your face. Good day, board. We have different views on Forbes article, but I did really appreciate your content. Definitely one of the best out there. Hope all as well. No worries. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. People are allowed to have different opinions from me, and I'm happy to discuss them as long as people are civil. That's all I want. I think more information is always better. Typically, I mean, obviously there are people that have sensitive minds and things like that, and younger people that certain information could damage, I suppose. But that's due to parenting. Parents should protect their children. But when we're talking about adults having conversations about this sort of stuff, people can come to their own conclusions. I thought that the Forbes stuff was mostly irrelevant, mostly old news rehashed, and obviously a very biased slant towards this is the conclusion of my article. It is to show that Star Citizen is mad. Look at all these people spending loads of money on this thing that probably won't happen. Oh, it's mad. And I feel that the writer just didn't understand, hadn't played the game. I mean, I've talked to people as well that are anti-Star Citizen that are like, have you played the game? And they go, no, I'm not going to spend money on playing that game. There's a free fly on. Oh, I'm not going to install it, shit. Like, that's the sort of level of, you haven't even bothered to do the research personally to see if you liked it or to try and understand it or to talk about the learning curve or whatever. It's very, but I did feel that the article wasn't anything to do with the game, really. What it felt like. It wasn't tangible new news. It wasn't news. It was all old stuff. Do you think the Hull A and B will come soon after the Hull C? Yes. Certainly come after it, but probably pretty soon after it. Within a couple of quarters. Is the Anvil Carrack old, outdated ship a big? People say it's going to be almost like civilian grade components. So we don't know the grade of the components, although I would expect military industrial civilian when it comes to components. That makes sense. You'll have to upgrade those components to a relatively good degree. The Carrack is a compact, basically exploration corvette, and it's going to be genuinely one of the great ships in the game, I think. 6 people ship, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic for 6 people. It's going to have a load of facilities on board, medical facilities, exploration, great for multi-role and multi-crew. I'm very excited for it. It's probably the ship I'm most excited about. That, then the Banning Merchantman. Ryan's high up there as well. Oh. Do you think having a playable alpha like this will hurt the longevity for actual MMO side of the game? I don't know, and it's hard to tell. I'm not sure whether them doing the game like they have been is a good thing or a bad thing. It is, however, a thing, and it's something that has been working when it comes to funding. And I love the project for the sort of like the fact that they can change, they can be dynamic, they do respond to the player and the player base. Thanks, Newt. I use Shadow Tech, referred by BoredGamer. At the moment, I'm shilling for Shadow because I love Shadow stuff. I think the cloud gaming is the future in lots of different ways. I do think there's always going to be people with their own hardware rigs. I'll always have my own PC hardware. I'll probably also have cloud-based gaming as well for when I'm on the move or just different rooms and stuff like that. Just different games, maybe. And NordVPN, I'm shilling for them as well because I like the idea of VPN services. I think they're great for security and privacy. How do I join a clan? If you go to community on the EIG website, let me show you. So on the RSI website, you can go to community, you can go to organizations, find an organization there. On my Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer, there is a recruitment thread for loads of different orgs you can look through. There are, on the Reddit, there's _guilds, I think. Loads of organizations recruiting there. Look through lots of orgs, who you like playing with. If you join someone and you don't like them, leave, find another org. You can find an org that's great for you. You can find an org with thousands, not tens of thousands of players, or you can find an org with a very small amount of players that are very focused on you. I've got an organization spotlight on my YouTube channel which goes through a load of orgs as well. Very important in org in Star Citizen, especially at the moment, if you want to play now. Literally click on one of those orgs and then you can join them. When will the limited ships be available to buy again? Things like the Caterpillar and Reclaimer. When they have a sale, when certain mechanics and flyable ship sales are ready, definitely October, November, but probably a few times before then. What's the best way to contact you? I have a community project in development, and I'm looking to get more content creators and community figures involved. Contact at boredgamer.co.uk, or will come straight through to me. Or you can go onto the discord.gg/BoredGamer. Your favourite ship in the small, medium, large, and capital sizes? So small, probably Avenger Titan, just because it's so multi-role and cheap. Medium, probably the Cutlass Black, for the same reason. I should do a bit of everything, multi-role, cheap. Large, Carrack or Reclaimer, because of the potential gameplay of that. I love the idea of salvaging. I'm very much an industrial player. And capital size, Orion. Orion's massive now. And I love industrial gameplay. And I love economy gameplay. That's what you're going to see large portions of the channel becoming once we have once we have no more resets. Economy stuff. We're doing lots of gameplay based on that. We'll be doing lots of guides based on that. We're doing guides and gameplay based on everything, admittedly. That's my personal sort of like preference. How does the anniversary sale work? In the past, basically, they've had like a week or two of sales, and every day is a different ship manufacturer that goes on sale with a load of ships, and then at the end of that, the last couple of days, is all the ships on sale again. Will we be able to buy some kind of home on planets later on? So you'll be able to deploy outposts on planets using the Pioneer, potentially some other ways as well. You'll be able to put land claims down. They want to have buyable/rentable cabs, so like the apartments that you spawn in at the moment, and hangars as well, and storage areas. So yes, that is the plan. Now they've been talking about quantum travel lately, but have they discussed travel between systems? Will they use a gate system or something similar to Eve? So it's jump points, and we're not entirely sure how they work. And we've once seen a sort of like a wibbly wobbly going through a load of tunnels, sort of like mock-up that they did a long time ago. But we don't really know how long and how quantum points will work. Jump points will work. Probably just like a cool quantum travel type thing over a short period of time will probably be what they do in the end. Like a 20-second effectively loading to the next area. There might be some gameplay there. I doubt it, but there might be. Are you interested in the salvage as a profession? Yeah. Probably something I'm one of the things I'm most excited about when we have all forms of salvage. Salvage represents being able to find money on ships and graveyards, and after fights you can make a load of money from that sort of like loot pile. But also it's treasure hunting. Salvage is really exciting, especially in Reclaimer. What profession are you most looking forward to in the verse? General economy. Salvage is pretty exciting. Mining's pretty exciting for me. Shipboarding is pretty exciting because it represents you being able to capture someone else's like cargo ship. I mean, I'm really realistically Equilibrium. I'm looking forward to all coming together. I'm looking forward to all of the mechanics and all of the sort of like professions supporting and affecting each other. I like BoredGamer. Besides, we suffer from similar issues. I assume you may. Well, I hope your family members are okay. It's something we'll have to deal with eventually, but I hope they are okay. But yeah, so I suffer from bipolar. I'm very erratic when it comes to my emotional state, and anxiety is the biggest problem I have. I have severe anxiety issues that randomly occur, which cause me to be very deeply depressed sometimes, and that can be worried about my personal health, worried about I'm going blind, worried about I'm going to kill my cat by stroking it too hard, and I'm going to come in drunk and tread on it. It can be worried about my dad's health, or my YouTube channel which is collapsing, or things like that. And those problems that would normally be like, well, it's okay, don't worry about that, or whatever, or think of the solution of that, just stay in my head and go round for hours and hours. I will iterate thousands of times upon all the possible solutions and situations that could occur. Sometimes I'll get snagged up on the worst possible situation will occur. And that's when I become sort of like depressed or whatever. My condition is incredibly easy to manage now that I understand it. Incredibly easy. Sometimes it's shit, and sometimes I'm like depressed for a few days, solidly, like really fucked. But I always know I'm going to get better, and it's something that I have learned to deal with, and I think people have it a lot worse than I do. But it's fine to talk about, and I talk about it when I'm really, really down. At the moment, I'm pretty good. Like the last couple of weeks up until a few days ago, it was pretty fucking rough. I was pretty fucking bad. I was mega depressed, mega worried about everything. Yeah, that was pretty shit. But I like to talk about it. Problems, no shame in being depressed or being a bit crazy occasionally. Obviously not the politically correct thing to say, but I'll own that word. I think everyone's got a bit of self-management they need to do with themselves. you know any good org? Plot C. There's loads of different orgs for loads of different gameplay. You're going to need to be more specific with exactly what sort of gameplay you want and do some research and look at those orgs. Because there's some for pirates, there's some for people that want to just do escorts, some people want to just do mining, there's some people that want to do a bit of everything, there's some people that there's different time zone groups, that there's huge amounts. You can basically get an org perfectly tailored for you though. Take care, Legendary. Thanks for joining us today. Love your face. I must hold down W or my ship stops. Is there a fix to that? Yes, so on your mouse wheel, you can adjust your velocity control, which is the thing on the left of the center of your HUD. When you press C, that will go to cruise control, and it will try and maintain that top speed. So you don't need to hold W anymore. Make sure before you try and land, you press C again to turn that off. Otherwise, when you're trying to land, with precision landing, you will move forward and things when you don't want to. Has CIG ever mentioned what's going to happen to the Vanguard series nose guns? We know that the Vanguard's got a big rework. We know that it's probably going to get loadout changes as well. They're doing internal and external changes. They haven't mentioned specifically what's happening to the nose guns now. I do suspect that ship will be very, very effective, though. One of the major rebalancing things that they had to do was get that ship to its intention, and I'm hoping that it's going to be solid for hunting sort of like medium fighters. Pretty durable and rough around the edges. So, Forge, you're the best Star Citizen creator out there at the moment. Bam! Better than Cloud Imperium's own videos. Like, thank you very much, Samayeli. I will smugly just accept your praise. The Star Citizen Live stuff they're doing now is pretty good, though. That's design questions. That was good questions. They're getting interviews with the right people, so I like that. I'm fine with them playing through the game as long as they've got devs there that will answer questions while they're playing. Fucking superb. Inside Star Citizen, I like it more than Around the Verse. I think it's got nicely segmented and wham bam, they can do it quickly. Yeah, I think it's an effective show. I would still like calling all devs, but as I said, I'll do a Star Citizen FAQ weekly now. Bam. We'll be able to buy some kind of plots. We talked about that. How do you do that stuff in the background? Well, that's actually quite old footage from the V2. That's on Lear 3. That was the original Procedural Planets demo. You can do a lot better stuff on Hurston. Obviously, no giant sand one, and no AI that work properly. Well, I mean, in the underground bunkers, you can find, and on security post career, you can find AI to fight on the ground, and they're just not great at the moment. So this is the Squadron 42 vertical slice. This represents relatively early, not particularly polished vertical slice of Squadron 42 that they showed at the end of 2017. The reason I say that is because there's lots of improvements that have happened with Squadron 42. They've been working on a broader vertical slice the first third of the game that they've been talking about in the monthly report, and hopefully we'll see that at CitizenCon or towards the end of this year. But I'm not sure if it's just a for in-house development and potentially press, or if it's going to be more. Hopefully CIG will see me as press when they do press releases. I would very much like to participate in any release events that they do for Squadron 42. Loyalty. Got to remember that, CIG. Come on. What are your thoughts on the recent Hull C versus the Banner Matchman video that's posted a couple of days ago? Didn't see it. I'll check it out. Feel free to message me about it, Equilibrium. The Banner Merchantman is more of a trade ship. It's going to be able to defend itself better. It's going to be able to go longer distances. It's going to be able to sell stuff directly from on board it, so have shops on board and that sort of stuff. Hull C, pure cargo hauling. Apart from what we already know about the Pioneer, what do you think it and its gameplay will involve? So it will be sourcing materials, and then you will literally be on the factory over several hours, I'm assuming, creating an outpost that you want to build, and then plopping those outposts down, or removing those outposts and moving them. And I actually think there's going to be a lot of gameplay involved in moving outposts around your plots to farm resources off them. I suspect that resources that you exploit from the land, I'm assuming that they will regenerate or respawn after significant periods of time. That's what I'm expecting from Cloud Imperium to do. Maybe over like 3-month periods, they sort of like reset. Because of that, people will move their plots around and then potentially go back to other plots. Maybe they'll just be depleted permanently. That's my expectation. Pretty simple. Oh, thank you very much, Christopher Jackson. Pledging on Patreon for some many dollars. Appreciated. Love your face. Thank you for all the support recently as well. Typically, February to May time is shitty for content creators. So, like, there's a lull. I've been doing pretty well, to be honest, and the channel's still been growing. Been good. But there's like, you get a big lull in views, watches, Patreon, donations, things like that. But I very much appreciate the ridiculous amount of support that I get from people. Thank you very much. That has not been much of my experience. I don't see as big a lull as other content creators do that cover other games and things like that. I suppose it's just the way the Star Citizen sort of like, there's constant news for it, which is great for me. Thank you very much for all the love. Thank you as well. I love your videos. Thank you. What's your org called? I've got one called Nomad Black, and I've got one called BoredGamer. BoredGamer is going to be the social one that I run. Nomad Black's going to be a little bit more very light role play, not kinky, and going to be used in game for various purposes in the future. I do want to do Nomad Black, but I haven't got enough time to run it properly yet, so I won't do it yet. I'll wait until Zin's involved, and then we can start segmenting that up. But BoredGamer org is going to be used regularly. Bored. Saying you like industrial stuff, Reclaimer made me think. Have you seen the 40th anniversary Alien Anthology short fan films? No, but they are literally on my laptop ready to watch for the last couple of weeks, I think. I haven't seen them yet. I did very much like Death and Robots, the little Netflix animations they did. Oh, they were very good. Didn't they update the mining and salvaging mechanics? Well, we don't have salvaging yet. Mining constantly gets iterated on. Mining was crashing a lot in the latest patch, although they've solved a lot of those crashes now. But yes, and those mechanics will constantly be updated. Do you ever be able to leave your pilot seat while quantum traveling? You can. You're talking about on a one-seater fighter? On a one-seater fighter where there's no room? No. You can just press Y. Get out of your chair. I'm the worst at multitasking. So I'm planning to, in the short term, do 3 streams a week. So a general FAQ stream, a more newsy stream, the weekend, and probably again on the weekend, a gameplay stream. Brexit going away. I don't know what's happening with fucking Brexit anymore. No one did in the first place anyway. You see patterns in when your depression occurs. Sometimes, and I can avoid a lot of them, I can help manage those states. Sometimes it's just random. Sometimes it will be a letter. Sometimes it will be an email I don't know how to deal with. Sometimes it will be a comment from someone that I'm like, oh shit. Typically it's something when I lose control. It's control-based, typically. What does chaff do? So you've got flare and chaff, and they're both countermeasures flares are for IR, and chaff is supposed to be for EM tracking missiles, although chaff technically should affect your cross-section as well. Do you think being social and supportive of each other helps a lot with depression? for some people, Captain Carrot. Everyone's depression is very much their own. However, they're not alone. People can be supportive, and if they want support, it's there for them. It's sort of like a lot of it comes down to, in my opinion, understanding yourself, being okay with yourself, and then managing yourself. And sometimes support from other people really helps. Sometimes talking about it really helps. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right and correct thing to do for everyone, but finding what works for you, knowing that you're going to be okay, and being all right with yourself. That these are things that are pillars for me. I love talking about it. No shame. Why should there be? Are you going to play Star Citizen in your stream at all? Or are you focusing on answering questions? Might play a bit today. Focusing at the moment on answering questions. But I'll load up the game in a minute and just chat while we move around in probably in Area 18 at the moment on the camp I've got loaded. Hello there. Just full. In recent months, there's been new info on the larger ships like the Bengal, Kingship, and the other they've hinted at. Oh, in recent months, has there been any info? They've been working on the Bengal. It's been getting tasks completed on the roadmap for Squadron 42, as is the Kingship. They haven't really talked much about them, though. Want to see aliens beside Vandal in Squadron 42. We'll probably see Banu, and eventually we'll probably see Xi'an. I mean, the Squadron 42 episode 2 might not even focus on the Vandal. Maybe it's about Xi'an. Maybe it's about the Banu. How long until I can make a Tavaran character? I don't know. They are part of the UEE, though. They said that they may have the ability to create alien characters for the player after release. That was quite a long time ago, so don't expect it in short or medium term. Do you think there'll be a lot of cinematics and video sequences in Squadron 42 campaign, or will actual gameplay be the major part? Actual gameplay will be the major part, as far as I'm aware. There will be cinematic-esque scenes where you have a presence and you can cancel out of them to move around in the scene as it plays out. We can turn that camera off entirely so that you're just seeing it from entirely your point of view. They sort of like have this hybrid of cinematic cameras in certain scenes, so you can sort of like view them at better angles, but you don't have to. You can just, you're still there. Since finishing Star Citizen seems to be depending on sales of Squadron 42. What would you think will happen if Squadron 42 flops? I mean, they'll work something out. Current funding model works for them. It allows them to operate at 550 to 600 employees. That sort of stuff. Squadron 42 financially only has to do reasonably well. Make them just a few million, like 20, 30, 40, 50 million, 50 plus million, I suppose, in the first year or so, to really help with the Star Citizen thing. It doesn't need to do that well. I don't think Star Citizen will be seen as a success unless it gets a great Squadron 42. I mean, Squadron 42 needs to be a great game. That's a given. Otherwise, Star Citizen is in danger. Yeah? It needs to be a genuinely great game. 90% plus, as I said. It needs to have that core flight model and all that sort of stuff there, and it's the vision. That is the vision. They can't get that right, well, hard to get the multiplayer right for Star Citizen. However, I do think they're going to be able to do that. I do think Squadron 42 is going to be a genuinely a great game. I think even with moderate sales of Squadron 42, because it still might not sell well, even if it's a great game, even with moderately good sales with Squadron 42, that will give them enough money to be able to complete Star Citizen with their current funding model at the same time. But I suspect that there will be a fuck ton of money coming to Cloud Imperium, and then they'll probably get a load more after Squadron 42 releases, because proof of concept, that's done, great game. A lot more people will see Star Citizen as mainstream and buy a lot more. What swappable ship modules are you most looking forward to, and why? Just the more... The modular system is one of the reasons I bought ships like the Caterpillar and the Redeemer. No, Retaliator. I just want those modules. Like, it's integral to the game more than anything else. I'm not really sure what I'm looking forward to the most. Caterpillar ones probably, because I like the idea of modular ships and being able to configure them in certain ways. One of the things I used to do in EVE was just sit for hours and hours and hours working out fittings and modules. Pretty enjoyable. Do you think the Vanguards will be on sale before 3.6? I think they'll be on sale with the release of 3.6. Favorite Love, Death and Robots episode? Yours is Zimmer Blue. It was a cool little robot. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. That was a cool one. I liked the Quantum and Jumpy Spider one. You know what I mean. I can't remember what it's called. How essential is an SSD in Star Citizen? At the moment, I'd say very essential. Otherwise, you have like long loading time, and you can get worse stuttering. How much money do I think is needed to finish the game? I think they will spend at least it'll be 300 to 330 million just on Star Citizen. So that's irrelevant from the 46 million that they've had invested for advertising. That's my expectation. So another 70 million probably. Will they get Star Citizen complete? Sort of roughly what I expect. Again, pulled that out of my ass, but you asked my opinion. Will Veto Hover be controllable? I believe so. It's a whole new system for 3.6. I believe it's going to have levels of control for it. Actually, I don't entirely know how it's going to work, to be honest. I thought they might bring some of the precision control back in that they removed with the flight model, in favour of just having the velocity control. Don't entirely know how the system's going to work. Do you think they will... How do you think they will handle partial nudity in the future, given showers will be needed and they're doing so much fidelity? Well, they can only have the water come on in a shower if the door is closed and only one person's in there. There you are. Partial nudity will be still wearing your bra and your boxers. Even if you're a man. Do constellations still have problems with broken legs using the personal elevator? I don't know. Probably been fixed. Citation needed. Regarding will Star Citizen succeed? Such an open-ended question, we don't know. I think it will, but what MMO has been reviewed a masterpiece at day one? I did enjoy World of Warcraft day one. Did enjoy Asheron's Call day one. MMOs are about growth and development, yes, and growth and development has gone into Star Citizen now. It's the entire project has started there. Since 2015, since they've been changed the scope of the game, it's all been about growth and development, and that's what that 3-monthly release is about. Oh, right. Have a little walk around ArcCorp before we finish the stream. There we go. Cool. How does that? Turn that down slightly. So we are in ArcCorp. Got my at the moment my suit's EVA is just constantly spitting out gas. We've got the changes we made. The floor onto the right is going to be an actual ship tip, so I apologise for that. I haven't cleaned. I just chuck a load of stuff near the shelf. I wonder if the teddy bear will kill me. Didn't kill me. Good. Put it over here. No, that's not where I told you to go. Come on. Come on. Close enough. Typically, I hadn't had problems with the placing feature. Today, my aloe vera is quivering. These have actually got the right assets on now. So this is my hab at Area 18. There is persistence in habs. So leaving your hab like a shit tip like this, and then logging off and coming back in, your hab will be like this when you come back in. Your hab may have moved. So at the moment I'm on floor whatever, room 6. No. But that could teleport to that room or a different floor or whatever. But it would still be the same room. Come on, I was talking about partial nudity earlier. They could only have shower and the water come on maybe if you're in here solo. But yeah, they can just have it so that it's just bra and pants. I'm looking forward to being able to interact with loads more objects. Carryables version 2.0 is coming with 3.6, which should give us more interactable objects. I suppose there are problems at the moment because the servers are pushed their limits anyway. I'm gonna go chill out in the center of ArcCorp Plaza. They were on floor 4? Do you think 4? This is the most annoying advert ever. Make every shot counts. Floor 3. Okay. But as I said, next time we log in, we could be on floor 4 or 2 or 1 or whatever. So just so Americans and other Europeans don't get confused, this is the ground, in the UK, this is the ground floor. And then the next floor up would be the first floor. Just, I know that's different. As you see, the performance for me is pretty strong. Getting like 60 frames per second, even in populated areas. Let's see if there's any turtles, actually. Then we'll just chill out in ArcCorp Plaza, answer some more questions. Your Astro Armada will have more ships for sale than just the Hawk at some point. Probably be able to get ship rentals from here as well. The Hawk there. I think it's 1.1 million. 1.1 mil. They are working on mission rewards at the moment. They are aware that they're not high enough. They have been increasing them anyway. So the turtles that I used to grab used to be around here. There are no turtles here today. Dumpers Depot will have a cheap selection of second-hand or refurbished goods in the future. That's such an old animation. God. Buy all these things. If I want to. Quantum Drive, I believe, the Odyssey. No, there's no dong slider. That is very much a Age of Conan thing. And there is no dong and breast size, not even done randomly like in Rust. You're only $1,300 for having an F8. Only. Oh my god. You monster. We're going to have some cool little back alleys in Area 18. There'll be other mission givers. There'll be other missions. There'll be things to buy. There'll be other shops around here as well in the future. A load of these assets were just slightly updated from the original ArcCorp, the social module that they originally had there. Looking very intently across the table and pointing at someone that's not there. Oh wow. Mirroring each other. Guys, a little bit stuck. Got the tram just coming in. So, technically, the technical achievements of Star Citizen are amazing. But it's a long way from being a playable, fun game. Beyond just being a tourist destination and short-term sort of like gameplay. Yes, if you're in an org, you can do some amazing stuff, but you are making your own sort of like sandbox gameplay. But it's just the procedure generation of ArcCorp is superb. I know that it's not finished yet by any means, and some of these like better assets are only used in the sort of like major landing zone areas. We can fly around actually. We can fly around the city. That's a good shout. I do want more gameplay that is sort of like... I want progression in my gameplay. I want to be able to do cool stuff. EVE Online is a good sort of like... how it used to be. Is a good sort of like type of gameplay that I want. So I want to be able to do loads and loads and loads of different things. I want to be able to do mining. I want mining and cargo hauling and all that sort of stuff to all work towards getting me something more in game and affecting the economy of the game and all that sort of stuff. And I want giant ship battles and I want boarding, and I don't need 10,000 people in a battle, but I would like a few hundred people in a battle. I mean, or a few hundred ships in a battle. There's going to be like potentially hundreds of people on a large capital ship, like on a Javelin or something. Is it still a pain in the ass to get off Area 18? Well, we'll find out. 20 seconds over there. Not sure why I just didn't stay over there. Now we will find out. When will they stop the account resets after the big patch? We've already talked about that earlier, but obviously you weren't here. So they're planning to do major release every 3 months. When we have full persistence and probably first implementation of server meshing is probably when we'll see less server resets. So maybe not a server reset every 3 months, maybe once a year or whatever. It's going to be anytime they need to update the databases. Eventually, they will switch over to UEC rather than Alpha UEC, and there'll be no more resets. But I suspect that will be after beta. Or maybe at beta time. Maybe they go, beta's the time that we don't want any more resets. Bad Star Citizen is down to 10 million to work with. You know how accurate that might be. I suspect that's not very accurate at all. Last year was their best year ever for funding. They've been doing pretty well this year. They had $46 million injection of cash. I suspect they're doing pretty well. A lot more than 10 million. I mean, I'd expect at least 60 million in the bank from them. At least. When will share missions be added? Not in 3.6. I'd expect for 3.7 though. But we know it's not 3.6 because Todd Pappy said it the other day. It's so. I love Pedro's music here. It's fucking fantastic for the theme of Area 18 and ArcCorp. But yeah, so shared missions, deeper multiplayer gameplay, and the organisation system is all major pillars. Well, as part of the organisation features pillar, and they want it in as soon as possible. It's a priority. What are we talking about? Nothing in particular, just answering questions really. I wanted to see if we could get off Area 18. We'll just hover around the planet before I'll call it a day. I've got quite a bad neck. I want to eat. I want to see if I can get an FAQ video out today to test my my idea for doing a weekly FAQ type thing, and then be taking. I want to drop a message to my Patreons, my YouTube members, and that sort of stuff, asking them to get involved with that as well. Starting to do some more. Starting this week to do some more. Thank you very much for the sub, Binary Hawk. Much appreciated. You know, a bit more interaction going with those VIPs. So I've forgotten how to talk. Very low LOD ships and vehicles passing by, but that's the job. What do you expect for the minor patches up to 3.6? So we're going to have the 300 series variants released. We should also see on the RSI website a way of customizing at least the 300 series before you buy them. And we're suspecting that that's probably going to be colors and paint jobs, potentially loadouts, potentially interior. Take the Arco out.
Your ship has been delivered to the following landing pad.
How do I think the Banu Defender will handle? It was described as being agile, nimble, fast, and deadly. So I suspect pretty agile. It's almost certainly going to have Xi'an engines or Xi'an Banu hybrid engines. Fuck, what hangar was I in? Can someone actually helpful tell me what hangar that was? I'm not very good at multitasking. Thank you for the love, appreciate it. I'm waiting on the Banu Merchantman as well. It's one of my favourite ships. What hangar are we in? Hangar 1? Cool, thank you.
Want your company to be in good company? ArcCorp's unique vertically integrated
Ah, shit, son.
and logistical pairing for our rental. Inquire today to learn how you can invest in making ArcCorp.
Squadron 42 is essential, episode 1, getting it right for Star Citizen. Yeah, I mean, they need to prove a lot. They need to prove that they're good at making games. They need to prove that they've got the vision. They need to prove that it's money well spent. Hello, little... Who's your little cargo argo? Mwah. You are. Yes, you are. I love this ship so much. Oh, no, doesn't like me though. Elevators do take a bit too long, especially when they're faked at the moment. Well, some of them aren't faked, but some of them are. R2 flight ready.
Systems activating. Systems on.
Oh, I forgot how amazing that sounds. Little robot. Oh, please don't do that forever. We good? You're just gonna beep at me forever. Oh no. So I had that problem earlier. Right, we're gonna turn off the we're gonna have to turn the sound off. Audio. And what is that? Is that a sound effect? It is. God damn it. Right, well, no sound it is. I'll make the sounds anyway. Perfect. Anyone else waiting on the Valve Index? Yes. Me answer questions while we're plodding around. Oh, you stopped eating sugar. So someone suggests that I eat 8 grams or less a day. So I'm aiming at 10 at the moment. 10 grams of sugar a day. I'm going to dash off for din-dins or lunch in a minute and have some painkillers and chill out for a minute. Got a bad neck. Any other questions? I have to see what I've missed. When do you think they're going to make lifts not horrible? So they're partially physicalizing some of them, physicalizing others, and then where sensible, making some of them teleporters. So they are working on those systems, I believe, for 3.6. Transit systems v2 for 3.6. Improvements to systems for doors, elevators, and airlocks. But it'll be the trains and shit as well. Oh, thank you for all the love and support. Thank you very much. Loads of subscriptions. Do you guys think Star Citizen will have some kind of instrument docking system or system that visually guides for us while docking on landing? So they've talked about how they want to do green zones in the future. So there's sort of like no-fly zones. Oh, wait, UK. The no-fly zones. Let's see if we can have a look at them here. Okay, we good? Not having a good time at all, are you? Oh, it's could be something to do with my thrusters. It doesn't like.
Here, down.
No. Or is it? Or is this where the? I think I'm actually maybe hitting the no-fly zone at the moment. So basically, the idea with the no-fly zones at the moment, currently, is that when you get to a certain level, they will pull you out of that zone, and you won't be able to go any lower. It will sort of like correct your course for you. In the future, they want to have landing corridors, which you would see augmented reality-wise, and it would say, go within this landing corridor. If you don't, then we'll either fine you or pull you out and pull you back in. So even at the moment with landing, go and land on one of these buildings. You'll see that there is some form of augmented reality for landing. Slightly higher one that actually has that. Okay, over here. Oh, this ship does not fly well in atmosphere. Oh my god. Whoa. You see there's some form of augmented reality when it comes to landing here. And then I can hold N when I'm directly over. It will automatically land me. You know what I mean? But in the future, they could do more with that. They're going to have ship-to-ship and ship-to-station docking. Maybe there'll be semi-automated processes for that. I think that's planned for 3.8 at the moment. So we were just pottering around Area 18 and ArcCorp. It doesn't have any weapons or a quantum drive. I was just fucking around. Sorry. Is basic cloud tech above Hurston coming in 3.6? We do not know when weather tech or cloud tech for planets is coming. Cloud tech is different from multi-layered fog stuff. It's different from the cloud tech they're using for anomalies and nebula and for the coil and for areas of interest. It's different from the weather system. and it's, I believe, probably different from the tech they're using for Horizon and Crusader. Sorry to further confuse the issue.
Launch
I
complete.
would like that away. Do you think Squadron 42 and Star Citizen will be on Steam? I don't know. I think it's unlikely because they've got their own platform for it. I think one of the original deals with Crytek as well was that they wouldn't sell it on other platforms, I think, reading the contract. So I don't suspect it's a possibility, but I think it's unlikely. I think they would get a lot of sales if they did. I would. What size ship will fit in the Polaris? I think up to a saber size, up to a medium fighter size, I believe. I love your face, BoredGamer. Have you shared your real first name? What friends call you in person? They call me Monkey. My original gamer tag was Monkey. Monkey or Bored now. Buy a ship in-game with in-game money. Yes, that will get reset until they're no longer reset. How tech different? Are you serious? That's a good joke! I like that joke. Serious. Fucking cloud joke, I like it. I think 2 Argos will probably fit in a Polaris. We won't know until they're fully built up. Until they fully built out the Polaris, basically. I don't understand why it's so hard to implement single gameplay loops to get players started. Yeah, so I do think there needs to be a team working on each of these gameplay loops and evolving these mechanics in-game live now, rather than just a live team and then lots of feature teams working on those features. I would like to see those teams take on the responsibility of a mission for each of them as well, for each patch. I sort of agree with you, the others. Am I able to buy the ship of the month? Am I able to buy the ship of the month as a subscriber? And what is it this month? This month, the subscribers get access to the Valkyrie. There are flash sales for subscribers, typically each month. I don't think I'm not sure if you're able to buy the ship of the month as a subscriber or not. I don't think you are. Your landing gear's done. I know. If I put my landing gear up, the ship will go mad. Cargo stations are one of those big goals that get lost in all the other goals. No, cargo stations are planned for 3.8, 3.9, 3.9 now, probably. They're important. They're very important. Just as important as rest stops are. But potentially more important because you need cargo stations at and near planets like this so that capital ships, cargo haulers can actually trade goods. How many Argos in a Caterpillar? Maybe one in the front? Like, it's an odd shape for an Argo to get in. Right. Do we have any other questions? I'll just sort of like go that way and just do a quick recap of stuff. The 3.5 still needs a load of fixes. Obviously, once it gets above 45 people in a servers can have problems, quite severe problems, and AI have problems. So they need to get that sort of stuff fixed. There's a load of known issues with 3.5 as well at the moment. But I do love the patch. I do love what they're doing. It's just very, very... The server tech is at its limits now before they get... they need more server optimizations, server-side object container streaming, server meshing, stuff like that. And they are working on that. And they really need at least some of it to come online before they put in Microtech and Horizon. So that's a big thing. Whether or not you like or dislike the Forbes article, I believe that most of the information there is old, irrelevant, and slanted towards the conclusion which they start with, which is basically Star Citizen is a game that might not ever come out and it's terribly mismanaged. It's basically what they said. I do not think that is now the case. I do not think that Star Citizen is terribly mismanaged anymore. I suspect there is inefficiency and management issues occasionally, as with anywhere, but I think it is significantly better than it was. I think that in the past, when they suddenly got a load of money from their small project, became this massive behemoth, I suspect there was a gearing period and problems, but I think they are mostly solved or largely solved. But I think Star Citizen is going to be genuinely a great game, or Squadron 42, and then I think elements of Star Citizen, the persistent universe, are going to be a great game. The elements that I'll play of it, I suspect there will be mechanics I don't like. There'll be like, I don't know, maybe I won't like farming. What else have we got? Anything else I wanted to talk about? We're getting a monthly report in a week or so, within the week. See what the holds later. We've still got free fly until the 8th. Yeah, that's the main things I wanted to talk about. Try and get an FAQ video up today. Thank you for all the support on Patreon and the subs on the Twitch. People using the Twitch Prime subs and stuff like that. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for all the Patreons and yeah, all that. Thank you, genuinely. I'll be in contact later today for everyone that's a VIP or Patreon, YouTube join member, all that sort of stuff, because I want to get some more stuff for the FAQ together. I'm putting the final touches to the plan for my podcast. For the podcast, it will sort of like be, as long as your microphone is not awful, basically the main requisite of that, I will consider people for being on the podcast, and that will be community members, that will be people that have been made cool things, that will be orgs, that will be devs, that will be content creators, and I'll sort of like organically evolve the podcast.
Tricksy little
I think it should be a pretty good one. I'm pretty you know what I want with podcasts, I think. Do you think it's possible we will see the Mercury Star Runner released this year? I think we'll see it worked on towards the end of the year. I don't think we'll see it released. Equilibrium. But yes, as I said, I'm going to get those people that go on the extra mile that support me on Patreon and on YouTube's, and we get them and Subscribestar more involved with what we do from a week-to-week basis. Also, there are going to be lots of org spotlights in the future. If you want to be considered for the org spotlight, you can send me an email at contact@boredgamer.co.uk or go on the Discord and the recruitment thread there, pretend you're recruiting me and say you want to be considered for an org spotlight. Org spotlights will typically be a interview with 1 or 2 or 3 people from your org, and a little piece before that, just doing a quick summary of your org. So it'll be an interview and a summary. You don't need to give me anything for that. You're more than welcome to give a chip away, but we'll organise that after we've got everything else done. I don't want people to go, we'll give you this if you give me an org spotlight. There's no barriers to entry with the org spotlight. I'll just randomly pick a mixture of them based on what I think's appropriate at the time, and I'd like to do one a week in addition to my other content. So if you want to get involved with that, you're more than welcome to. I might give a bit of preference to, VIPs, maybe. Gotta do something for them. Gotta encourage people to give me money. Do you love your faces, guys? Thank you very much. Carrick, when? Carrick is planned for 3.7 now? Carrick 3.7? 3.8. 3.8? 3.8. Yes. Jackson 3.8 now. So that's the end of this year. By the end of this year. I do think they'll make that. I'm going to ram a space whale with a Bengal. Rocket! Good for you. If you film that, I will put it on my channel. Please do. You know anything about the developers' plan? Do you know anything about how developers plan to defeat ping problems in battles with players from different regions, for example, Europe and Australia? I talked to Luke Presley about this, and I think they've actually, Derek Senior about this, and I think there was also some information on that on Spectrum recently. So they're looking at lots of different possibilities. There's the infrastructure that Amazon Web Services has is apparently fantastic for eliminating poor ping problems. but they might look at migrating players to closer servers or going to medium distances between servers. There's lots of things that they're considering. They're going to see what works the best, but they have pings in mind for players. So, what do you think Star Citizen's target demographic are? 30 to 25 to 35, 25 to 40-year-olds, probably men. IT crowd, high disposable incomes. Literally what it is, I suspect. That's what we'll probably sell the most with. Squadron 42, probably a bit younger than that. Chat Rules asked me to not be a dick, but I identify as a dick. What should I do? Just don't be a dick in chat. Do some like roleplay, True Bark. I also feel the same. Right. I love you guys' faces. I love your faces, guys. You can finally watch me live, but I'm just about to sign off. I'm gonna go and host someone else beautiful. But yes, Two Houses Online. Thank you very much for joining me today. Very much appreciated. Thank you for all the money that people throw at me. Jesus, appreciated. Yeah. We will go and we will host Super Mac Brothers because I love him. And he's also British. You know, Brits together. I'm only going to have British friends after Brexit. That's how it works. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the hugs and the kisses and the pics. I noticed the Gladius has beautiful damage models. Any idea when the other ships, like Freelance, will get the same? A lot of the ships are starting to start to get them. I expect all the ships to have updated damage models as they go forward. I just don't know when we're going to get them for all the different ships. Physicalized components will be coming soon as well. So I suspect they'll do a damage pass on all the ships for that. My father's doing all right at the moment. He's got hay fever, so he's coughing a lot. But yeah, he's not going through chemo anymore. So he's enjoying life and he's good. And I'm doing a lot better as well, personally. So thank you very much for the love. Genuinely appreciate it. Give Sumat Brothers some love, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out, guys. Woo!